Hello, welcome. We're so excited that you're here to join us for the Potomac and Chesapeake Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Fair. We're going to learn about some great schools in this session. I have a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. You can direct your questions to a specific school or schools by including their names with your question, or you can leave a question for all of our representatives to answer about their programs. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. That's again why that Q&A button is so important. This is just one of many different sessions that are happening, so be sure to sign up for more. This presentation is being recorded, as are all of the presentations as a part of this programming in the Potomac and Chesapeake Association for College Admission Counseling. You can find all of these recordings in about a week's time at that same website where you can also head to sign up for more sessions. And that would be strivescan.com/PCACAC. I'm now excited to welcome and turn it over to our very first presenter. We're going to be learning about Newcastle University first. Thomas, I know that you're unmuted, but we can't hear you right now.
Can you hear me now?
Thank you. All set.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me. Good afternoon. My name is Thomas. I work for Newcastle University in the UK. And for those of you who aren't aware of or know much about Newcastle, it's a very lively, friendly student city located in the northeast of England, just where that little red pin is. Newcastle is really well connected to the rest of the UK. We're approximately 2 hours, 50 minutes away from London, which is a gold star there in the southeast. About an hour and a half away from Manchester. We have lots of direct trains to other major cities in the UK, as well as an international airport just 20 minutes away from our campus that serves flights to around about 80 different destinations across Europe and also into the Middle East as well. Newcastle is often named as one of the best student cities in the UK and globally, and it's also the most affordable student city in the UK as well. It's very safe and friendly, and it's not just a great place to study, it's also a great place to potentially start your career. We are a hub for innovation, technology, advanced manufacturing, and the arts. And we're also a very lively city, but yet still quite compact at the same time. You can get pretty much across the main city centre in about 20 to 30 minutes walk from one side to the other. Newcastle is also one of the driest places in the UK, and we actually have less rain than DC, which most of you should be pretty familiar with, as well as other famous cities like Rio and Cape Town. Newcastle is also really lucky to be surrounded by beautiful nature. We've got some fantastic beaches just 20 minutes away by metro, and we're also home to some wonderful historical architecture. And just to give you an example of some of those different features, you can see there Grey's Monument, which is in the city centre, named after Earl Grey, who the tea is also named after. We have Longsands Beach. We have the River Tyne, where you can do things like kayaking, and also lots of castles. Northeast actually has more castles than any other region in the United Kingdom. We're very lucky that our campus is located right at the heart of the city. So you can see there the golden shapes in the bottom left and right. Those are where our main campus buildings are located. And then you have the grey rectangle there, which is the heart of the city centre. So we do offer the best of both worlds. We have a wonderful green campus, as well as easy access to all the main shops and restaurants and other facilities in the city. Our history dates back to the 1830s, and this is reflected in our beautiful historical buildings on our campus. But we also do have some fantastic modern buildings as well. The bottom right there is the computer science building that was opened a few years ago. And the top left building there was opened last year, and that is actually home to the National Centre for Data and the National Centre for Innovation, and forms part of a wider development called Newcastle Helix. Newcastle has a very strong global reputation for academics. We are in the top 160 universities in the world and top 25 in the UK. We're also a founding member of something called the Russell Group, which is similar to the Ivy League in the US and is home to other institutions like Oxford and Cambridge. And we're also rated gold for our teaching standards as well. We have collected many other awards throughout the years, including being named 15th in the world for our impact rankings for our sustainability. And we're also top 10 in the UK for graduate prospects, which puts us ahead of places like Oxford and UCL. Newcastle has a very strong academic excellence. We have 3 faculties, which are home to 27,000 students studying across 200 bachelor's degree programs and 300 master's programs. Some of those that are very popular with our US students include things like English language, literature and linguistics, history, classics and archaeology, our law school and our business school, as well as things like animal science, marine science. And we actually have 2 commercial farms. We have our own marine research center, marine research vessel. And as well in our medical science faculty, we have programs like medicine, dentistry, as well as things like pharmacy and sport and exercise science. It's worth mentioning that in England, programs like law, medicine, dentistry, veterinary sciences, they are actually all available to students as bachelor degree programs. So they are offered right out of high school rather than having to do a bachelor's degree first and then go on to grad school. We are not test optional for our admissions, but we are test flexible. So what that means is that we'll typically accept a combination of 3 of the following. So APs would be our preferred option, but if you've taken any SAT subject tests, we'll also consider those. If you've taken the SAT or the ACT, we'll consider that as well. But we will also take things like dual enrollment credits, honors classes, etc. So it's worth checking on our website because different degrees will have different entry requirements, but if you are confused by them, then feel free to get in touch with me and my email address will be available at the end. In terms of our tuition, you can see there a comparison between us and our closest ranked competitor in the US News Global Rankings. Our overall costs per year are $35,000 US, whereas theirs are $72,000 US. And it's also worth pointing out that we have a 3-year graduation rate of 96% versus a 6-year graduation rate at our competitor of 87.5%. We do also have scholarships available. They do vary from year to year, so it's worth checking our website for the most up-to-date scholarships, but that's just an idea of what we have on offer at the moment. As well as having excellent academics, we have great support services like our International Welcome Week, just for international students, as well as disability and special learning support, campus security, and also our fantastic careers center and sports center as well. There's lots more information on our website. There's some links there and I'll post those in the chat for you, along with my email address if you have any more questions. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the presentations.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for starting us off and sharing Newcastle. I've noticed we've got more attendees who've joined us. Welcome. We're so excited that you're here. Just a quick reminder, the Q&A button is your best way to ask questions of our representatives. You can direct it to specific schools or leave a question for all of them. And also keep an eye on the chat today, as each representative will be sharing information for you to grab and go for follow-up after today's session. So 6 minutes is just real fast and it's just a sneak peek at what all these schools have to offer. All right, as you can see on our screen, Todd's here and he's going to share with us the University of Melbourne.
Okay, good day, everyone. We're going to take a brief journey down to the University of Melbourne. It's only a 13-hour flight from the West Coast to Australia, where it's already Monday morning. So welcome to UniMelb, or as we say in the local Aboriginal language, Wominjeka. Melbourne is a top-ranked public, large comprehensive research intensive university in the southern part of Australia. As you can see, we are very comprehensive and many disciplines rank globally, excel in the top universities. But what does this mean for you as a student? This is the beautiful Great Barrier Reef, which is about 4 hours north of Melbourne. And imagine taking classes even as a freshman with Madeline Van Oppel, who is bioengineering heat-resistant coral in an effort to save the Great Barrier Reef. So this is just one example of the kind of academic experience that you can have at a university that is considered an Ivy League version down under. This is our beautiful main campus in the heart of Melbourne, about 15 minutes from downtown, sandwiched in between the Melbourne Biomedical Precinct and our version of Little Italy. So what I love about Melbourne is, and Australia is a very multicultural country, and our campus is very international. We are very large with 25,000 undergraduate students. So you will have a tribe of about several hundred other Americans to hang out with, but also friends from around the world. We have great graduate outcomes, and in Australia, all international students stay and work for 2 years after graduation. So it gives you options where you might start your career. It's standard in Australia that your degree is going to be just 3 years. That's a savings in itself. At the current exchange rate, your tuition is going to be about 33,000 US dollars per year. We'd estimate another 15 to 20,000 US dollars for living expenses. You can use things like US student loans at most Australian universities. Admissions is going to be based only on an academic entry achievement, and we will get into the details of this momentarily. And you're doing all of this in the great city of Melbourne, a city of about 4 million. We joke about having sometimes 4 seasons in a day, but it is regarded as Australia's sports and cultural capital. So we have streamlined our degrees into 8 options with hundreds of majors and minors within them. That could be the Bachelor of Agriculture. We call the liberal arts and humanities arts, entire degree in biomedicine. We call business commerce. We have design, there's fine arts, there's music, and a plethora of sciences, including engineering and IT. So we call degrees courses in Australia. You have to learn to speak Australian English. So this QR code will take you to our Find a Course page where you can explore all of the different things, because your interest might be in more than one major or more than one degree. So 25% of your degree is what we call breadth subjects. This is anything of your choosing outside of your degree. Think of it as Gen Ed Light, but it's all within the context of 3 years, giving you flexibility and chance to explore your options. You can extend to a 4th year, either through what we call a concurrent diploma or honors, which would be a year of independent research. So admissions for high school students is going to be based on just your SAT or ACT, your minimum GPA, and AP prerequisites. Guaranteed entry, if you meet these thresholds, this is all listed on our website, does vary slightly per degree. We are not test optional, but test alternative, and 2 alternatives to the SAT and ACT. And if you're not presenting an AP exam, you would have to be presenting a university level course syllabus for review to meet those prerequisites. We also have entry for transfer students and as well as for IB students. So it's different down under. Our semester 1 starts in March. Our semester 2 starts in late July. Your summer break is between November and December. And you can start in either semester because we offer the core classes in every semester. Our deadlines are very different. I would just say apply when you're applying to universities in the US. Now, the borders remain closed due to the pandemic, and the Australian government has just announced that they anticipate having restrictions until July of 2022. So starting before then would mean starting online. Deferrals can also be quite automatic in Australian universities. We can guarantee accommodation. To confuse you, we call the dorms colleges, or we have student apartments. You will always get your own room. Of course, we're going to have lots of clubs and societies and sports to make uni life great. We'll finish with a brief campus tour, a beautiful mixture of sandstone buildings dating back to the 1850s, with wide open spaces, but also modern facilities and lecture halls, the labs. Of course, we have to stop off at the underground car park because we do things like film Mad Max movies and MasterChef Australia. So you never know who you're going to meet on campus. This is Melbourne downtown, 15 minutes away. This is classic Melbourne, funky cafes, music scene. We're also a city of sports with easy access to nature and of course some stunning nature. So please get in touch if you have any other questions about University of Melbourne. I'm based in San Francisco. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Todd, for sharing the University of Melbourne with us today. All right, our next stop is going to be Imperial College London.
Great, thank you very much. So yes, hello everyone. My name is Catherine. I am based here in London, so coming into our evening here, but I'm going to give you a quick whistle-stop tour about Imperial. A couple of key things here to note straight away, and really that first point probably is one of the key takeaways, is that we are quite unique in the UK, being solely focused on STEM subjects at undergraduate level. Potentially going to have a business course coming in the future, as we do have a graduate business school, but at the moment all our degrees are in the STEM field, and I will talk about those a bit more in a moment. We're also pretty good at what we do. So if you look at kind of global rankings, UK rankings, you'll generally find us there in the top 10, often the top 5 even of these rankings. So we're quite proud of that. And as you might expect from a world-leading STEM university, we have been pretty busy this year. I know, don't necessarily want to talk about the pandemic all the time, but we are very proud of what we've achieved. So whether that's our epidemiologists and our scientists advising both national and international governments on how to deal with the pandemic, to having our own vaccine program, to developing rapid tests, we really have been at the forefront of the fight against the disease across our faculty and our academic departments. We're also very proud of the fact that we're incredibly international. We're very much kind of reflective of the city we are based in. I'll talk about London a bit more in a moment. But just to highlight how this can be such a benefit for you as a student in our classroom. What it means is that you're getting ideas and perspectives from across the globe when you're studying with us. So you're not just going to finish with a degree that is relevant to the UK, you're going to get a degree that is highly transportable afterwards. So you get so used to kind of, making friends and listening to people from all over the globe. So I said we are very reflective of London. London is such a cosmopolitan, vibrant student city. This picture here is of the South Kensington area, and that really is kind of where our main teaching happens as an undergraduate student. You see the green space there, that's Hyde Park. We have the dome of the Royal Albert Hall, which is actually where you graduate, so a nice grand finale of your time with us. And you see the kind of the column with the green dome, that's where we're based. And we're next to the Science Museum, the Natural History Museum, across the road from the Victoria and Albert Museum. So potentially if you have visited London as a tourist, you may well have walked past our doors without even realising it. But London has all those added benefits for you as a student. So, whether that's accessing kind of specialist libraries and institutes, or indeed, of course, making the most of all the culture activities, the theatre, the music going on, it really is a great place to be studying. It's also a great place to think about building your future career as well. So all the sort of networking opportunities are really on your doorstep when you're with us. Now, I mentioned we are specialists, so we only have what we call 3 faculties of study, but we have a really wide range of departments in there, and you get to get really specialised very early on. So you wouldn't come into a general engineering programme with us, for example. You would get straight into biomedical engineering or chemical engineering, for example. We have a range in the sciences and a few joint options with these where you could combine a science and a language or a science and management, for example. One key thing for us is because you are doing these very specific degrees, APs are generally the key subject for us. So we don't actually look at SATs or ACTs. We normally need at least 3 APs with grade of 5 in the relevant subjects. So things like calc, physics, depending on the programme, or of course the IB as well. But do take note of the specific subject requirements, and I'm happy to talk individually to people afterwards as well about that. Just to say, as much as we are about STEM, that doesn't mean kind of that's all you get to do with us. So we've introduced our iExplore program where you can take a class outside of your department. So that could be doing something like business for scientists and engineers, or it could be doing something like philosophy and language. Research is a common thing on campus as well, or doing an internship, for example, many of our students take part in. So there's plenty of opportunities to kind of enhance your time with us. Innovation is one of these key aspects as well. So we know our students are incredibly bright and have fantastic ideas, and we want to support them, enabling them to kind of make a difference. So if you have that kind of eureka moment, you think of this great thing that's going to kind of change the world, well, you can go along to our Advanced Hackspace network now and make things into a reality. So you can prototype your ideas, use things like 3D printers, laser cutters to make it into a real object. Once you have this great idea, what do you do with it? How do you get it out there to the wider world? Well, you can now go along to our enterprise lab, take part in mentorship schemes, learn how to kind of develop your idea further and pitch, and take part in some of our competitions as well. So we really want to support our students in making a difference with their own ideas. And it does astound me how incredibly busy our students are. They are doing demanding degree programs with us, but we have over 300 different clubs and societies. So all the kind of sports you might expect, chance to try something new. Being very techie, we have things like robotics society, a drone society. But if you want to be very British, we also have things like a tea drinking society as well. So plenty of opportunities to make the most of your time on campus. And kind of all of this really does feed into the fact that our graduates are in an excellent place to start their careers once they leave it. So we have some of the best employability rates and some of the best starting salaries. And of course, areas such as the motor industry employ a lot of our graduates. But just to leave you with the example here of one of our recent graduates from medicine who took that entrepreneurial journey with us, who actually was inspired to prototype his idea of a hand stabilizing glove, and it ultimately won a 1.8 million euro funding to develop his idea further. So that's a quick whistle-stop tour. I'll be very happy to answer any individual questions, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentation. I'll just share a link for you in the chat afterwards.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing Imperial College London. All right, we're off to our next country and school, i.e. university.
Hi everyone, just a sec. I'm getting everything set up. So welcome to IE University. We're an international university based in Spain. My name is Elsa Bustani. I'm the local representative of IE in the Northeast. I'm based in New York, and basically I'm here to answer all your questions and support your journey to Spain. At IE, we are proud to have international degrees with more than 7 different accreditations, which means that you can study and work across 140 different countries upon graduation. All of our degrees are entirely taught in English. They're 4 years long, and they can be, you can assist and study in both of our campus, Segovia and Madrid, and you can pick the one that you prefer. Unlike Imperial, we're more focused on liberal arts. We have a lot of degrees in architecture studies, design, business administration. We also recently opened to STEM and had a degree in computer science and artificial intelligence. We also offer dual degrees, which is basically the opportunity to combine 2 different degrees and enrich your learning curve and opportunity. One of the most popular dual degrees would be the degree in business administration and data and business analytics, or the one in law and international relations. We are proud to have students that are unique and that define our spirits and our culture as a university. We're a very diverse university, and every year we welcome students from 50+ different education systems. 75% of our students are international students, and there's more than 45 languages spoken on campus. We're proud to say that we have 130+ nationalities in the undergraduate student body, and in total, at the undergraduate level, we have 4,100 students. So as I mentioned, we have 2 campuses, one in the capital, Madrid, and one in Segovia. Here you have an overview of our campus in Segovia. It's actually a campus that's older than the United States. It's a monument that has been preserved by UNESCO and is considered to be one of the World Heritage. Although we maintain the architecture heritage and history of the place, it's extremely modern, and we adapted the facilities to young professionals and the needs of higher education today. Those are a couple of pictures of Segovia as a city, and as you can see, the castle in Segovia is one of the castles that inspired the logo of Disney. And here you have our campus in Madrid. It's very urban, central, very dynamic, and actually we have the highest campus in Europe, the IE Tower, and the 5th highest campus in the world, and we're starting classes there this year. And if the video works, I will share it with you. apparently it's not. Okay, never mind. But it's a breathtaking campus. We have 33 floors. We have like 5 floors dedicated to sports. We have a meditation hub. We have an innovation hub, a research hub, and a huge financial hub. That was prepared. So at IE, we want you to build your own path and create your own opportunities, take your future on your hands and make your experience at IE whatever you want it to be. So we offer different elective and advanced seminars. We have international exchange programs, internships, and IEU labs. All of our students have also the opportunity to learn Spanish as part of their degree. And what are the IEU labs? So basically we have I'll give you an example and then you can replicate it to each lab and it's the same concept. So for example, the communication lab worked with Twitter at the city of Madrid to work on the campaign prepared on COVID. And basically our students had the opportunity to join forces and work with them, participate in the targeting strategy and gain a better understanding on the psychographic and demographic needed and how you adapt your speech accordingly. They were working alongside one of our professors and a team from Twitter itself and a couple of representatives from the city of Madrid. We have 160 plus international partners, which means that you can study wherever you want for a semester or two upon graduation. One of our partners in the US will be Cornell, another partner in Canada will be McGill, and we have a lot of different partners all around the world, including China, New Zealand, Australia, and all over Europe, obviously. We're very proud to say that you also have a dual summer program with Brown University, which means that you can study a summer at Providence and then transfer your degree directly at IE. And also for your information, we have a dual MBA program with Brown and a dual master degree with Yale. So there's a lot of interaction between higher education in the US and higher education at IE. We're also a very active community. We have 100 plus active IEU clubs. We have our own newspaper, The Stork, and we have 5 different podcasts on campus. Our clubs are interest-based, hobby-based, or career aspiration, okay, based like clubs that help you network, coach you, help you debating, prepare you for a career at the UN, etc. Name it.
We have reached the end of your 6 minutes. I want to make sure that you're able to get your contact information, share that screen and put that in the chat too.
Yes, of course.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing IE with us today. All right, well, everyone who is attending, just wanted to let you know that unfortunately, the University of Westminster has let us know they're not able to join us today. So I really encourage you to head to their website where you can find all the information to get started exploring those opportunities and to find contact information for the representatives to ask questions and investigate further as you explore your choices. We do have some time together today. I want to make sure that all of our representatives have had a chance to get their contact information or links that they want to share into the chat, and that all of our attendees have been able to grab that. Also the Q&A button, we did get a question in there. We really loved seeing that. We'd love to give you a couple minutes to think about any more questions you'd like to ask any of these schools. So while we've got that Q&A button still open, we're gonna do a little bit of live Q&A. So I'd love to invite all of our representatives to come back on screen. In the same order, we'll go in the same order that you presented. And when the person ahead of you finishes, please feel free to just turn on your microphone and answer the question. We'll just have it flow from person to person during this segment of our time together. All right, so the first question I would love to have each of you answer is to share your top advice, tips that you would really want to encourage our attendees and those watching, whether it's live or later on video recording, about exploring, looking at going overseas for their college experience. So we're going to start with Thomas. Thank you for kicking us off again. And here we go.
So my advice would be, if you're going to use rankings when you're choosing university, have a look at course rankings. So in the UK, Complete University Guide, for example, is a really good website that provides course rankings, because the university that you are interested in may be ranked very highly overall, but for your chosen subject might not be ranked that highly. And there could be a university you've never heard of that's ranked number 1 or number 2 for that specific subject.
Okay, Todd from the University of Melbourne. Two things: take advantages of resources of things like virtual campus tours and events to connect with current students. It's kind of hard to go abroad. The other thing is, of course, we would love for you to come to our universities for your entire degree. But if you wind up staying in the States, just go abroad as have your undergraduate experience. And you can look at U.S. universities' study abroad offices to see where you can go. But it's a great world out there, and hopefully the world will be opening back up soon with the border.
I'd say my tip would be, if you're kind of looking at the UK and by the sound of it, sort of the other universities here as well, kind of think subject first in a way, as much as obviously you want to think about the university environment and feeling at home. For us, you need to know that you're going to really enjoy the program you're studying, because there isn't such flexibility in a lot of cases to change. So I would always say to look at what we call the module list, kind of talking of the language. It's kind of your classes that you'd be taking. So if you look at the degree programs and look what you'll actually be studying each year, to make sure that this is something you will really enjoy and want to do for 3 years to get your bachelor's degree.
So you can't pick where you come from, but you can pick where you want to go. So think about your degree as a passport, as an opportunity to take you wherever you want to be, and sit down, create a pros and cons, list, and make sure that the institution that you pick mirrors your value and will help you be wherever you want to be in 5 years' time, or in the long haul. And if you don't know where you want to be, then where you don't want to be, and make sure that they won't take you there. And it's a good place to start. And that would be my biggest advice. Make it about you and not about external factors, because at the end of the day, this is the biggest investment that you'll make on yourself. And it's very important that it mirrors who you are as a person.
Oh, thank you. I love the range of tips, from very, the logistics and having to navigate this process of what to look for and the right things to explore, but then also just the perspectives to take when you're looking at, this adventure of the college search process ahead too. All right, and love that we've got a question. We've got some questions in the Q&A. This is wonderful. All right, everyone, I have a second question for you. I'd love to hear from each of you a little bit about your student experience. So to share a favorite event, tradition, or type of program, it could be academic or student life related, whatever it might be, that would give a little extra insight into the experience in your community. We'll go in the same order. So thank you again, Tom.
Yeah, sure. So one of my favorite events on campus is every year we have a boat race against Durham University, which is a university that's located about 10 minutes away on the train from Newcastle. It's a little bit like the Cambridge-Oxford boat race, if you're familiar with that. And it's held on the River Tyne, which runs right through the heart of Newcastle city centre. It's really fun. It's really exciting. It's just kind of some friendly rivalry between us and Durham. I also quite like it because often we win, because Newcastle has one of the best boating teams in the UK.
So at University of Melbourne, there's a weekly farmers market, which is also just a great place with food trucks and live music. And it's just a great vibe to take a break from the studies.
I guess my favourite tradition is mascottery, we call it at Imperial. So Imperial was actually a number of colleges originally, and each of those had their own kind of mascots. And they maybe aren't the mascots you're used to in the US. We do have those. We have Victoria and Albert, who go out and represent our medics and the rest of the university when we do have kind of sports. But some of our other mascots include a car that you'd more likely see in places like Downton Abbey, for example. But there's also then kind of very techie, sort of like a giant wrench, a giant spanner, so quite kind of quirky ones. So yeah, if you Google Imperial mascottery, you'll find some odd little quirky ones there.
So we celebrate IE. We have an IE day And we basically have our mascot all over the campus. We organize like a giant fest where every different culture on campus will share about their tradition, music, dancing, food, etc. And this year we did it virtually, and we had a scavenger hunt across 62 different countries, and it was very, very, very cool. So it's definitely my favorite event on campus, simply because it celebrates the diversity and the human, the people of IE, which makes who we are as an institution.
Awesome. I love hearing about those little insights into that student experience and community vibes on each campus. It's awesome. All right, well, I'm going to throw in a little curveball for one last question for everyone today, because you are amazing panelists sharing about awesome schools. I'd love to hear an interesting or fun fact about your school. Maybe it's something that doesn't make every presentation, but is something really interesting to share and for people to get to know. Maybe on any topic. Any favorite fun fact?
So my interesting fact is that we were the only university in the UK to award Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with an honorary degree during his lifetime. And he actually came to Newcastle, he came to the campus to accept the degree. He made a very impromptu speech on campus, and it was during a very short trip to the UK. So it was really special that he made the way up to Newcastle to accept it.
So our fun fact is that Julia Gillard studied humanities and law, and she went on to become Australia's first Prime Minister. And Nicole Kidman and Kate Blanchett both did some acting studies. So you never know the potential of who you might become or your classmates at University of Melbourne.
So for us, actually, the band Queen formed at Imperial. So Brian May actually was doing his undergraduate at the time. He went off, kind of ruled the rock world for a few years and came back sort of around a decade ago now to actually finish a PhD in astrophysics with us.
And for IE, we actually started as a graduate school first, and we were specialized in business and MBA programs, and we were the very first university in the world offering MBA programs in Spanish in the 60s. So that explains a lot the culture at IE normally, etc.
Oh, awesome. I love that question. I'm so glad I asked it, because I feel like I learned a little bit more interesting stories today as well. All right, well, we have reached the end of our time together. First, I want to thank all of our admissions representatives for being here and give wonderful presentations and snapshots into the experience and opportunities in and out of the classroom, not just the logistics and the admissions process and throwing out those numbers, but it's obvious your energy and excitement for your students. Thank you to all of our attendees, whether you're watching this live or you're watching the recording again. I hope that you feel inspired to explore more, to learn more. Remember, these 6 minutes are just a tiny sneak peek into everything that each of these campuses has to offer. And we hope that after today, you'll follow up, you'll ask questions, you'll build relationships. I also hope you know that these admissions representatives are your #1 contact. They're here to help you navigate this. There's no question too small as you explore what's next for you. When you close your window, so now the logistics, there's going to be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. I promise it is really short and will just take a minute or 2 to finish. And we'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. And again, this is just one of many sessions that are being hosted. We hope that you are already signed up for more, but it's also not too late to join our next 2 rounds. And in about a week's time, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as all of the other session recordings at that same website where you register. strivescan.com/PCACAC. So thanks again, everyone, for being here, for spending time with us today, and best wishes in your college search and decision journey. It is a lot of work, but it is a lot of fun, and you have great adventures ahead. Bye, everyone.